evenings bring no relief. There are more duties: cleaning the barracks, mending worn uniforms, and standing guard, often in harsh weather. Rest is always just out of reach. In North Korea, military service isn't a choice, it's a command. From a young age, citizens are taught that serving in the military is not just a duty, but an essential part of their identity and loyalty to the state. For young women, conscription arrives just after high school, presented as the highest honor. It is portrayed as a noble path, a way to contribute to the nation's strength and security, and a chance to prove their dedication. Propaganda posters show smiling female soldiers, but the reality is far from glorious. These images are carefully crafted to inspire pride and patriotism, masking the harsh conditions that await. Behind the image lies a harsh truth: conscription marks the start of a long nightmare. The initial excitement quickly fades as the grueling demands of military life take their toll. A decade of youth is sacrificed, personal dreams abandoned. These young women give up their aspirations, their futures redirected by the state's unyielding demands. They enter a world of rigid discipline, grueling labor, and constant surveillance. Every action is monitored, every moment accounted for, leaving little room for individuality. The promise of heroism fades quickly, replaced by the cold machinery of the state. The romanticized vision of military life is overshadowed by the relentless routine and strict hierarchy. A government official arrives and refusal is not an option. Punishment extends to the whole family. The pressure to comply is immense, with the threat of repercussions looming over loved ones. Tearful goodbyes are followed by a journey to unknown training camps. Families are left behind, their hearts heavy with worry and uncertainty about the future. Civilian identities are stripped away, names become numbers. The transformation is swift and stark, as individuality is replaced by uniformity. The state's power is absolute, teaching that the individual means nothing. Obedience is paramount, and personal desires are secondary to the collective will. Young women learn to suppress pain and obey without question. The rigorous training is designed to instill discipline and resilience, but it often leaves them weary and disillusioned. They endure hunger, exhaustion, and fear, told it will make them strong. The harsh conditions are justified as necessary for building character and fortitude. For many, it only breaks their spirit, revealing the military's gilded cage as a prison. The reality of their situation becomes clear, as the weight of their sacrifice becomes unbearable. The journey to serve is the beginning of untold hardship. As they march into the unknown, these young women face a future filled with challenges and sacrifices, their lives forever changed by the call to serve. Why does North Korea conscript its daughters? The answer is both ideological and practical. Officially, it's about gender equality and national defense, fitting the Jewish philosophy of self-reliance. In reality, a shrinking birth rate and famine forced the regime to find new recruits. Since 2015, military service is mandatory for women after middle school. Most serve in support roles: clerks, operators, cooks, or on military farms, freeing men for combat. Conscription is also a tool of social control. Isolated from families, women are indoctrinated and taught absolute loyalty to the Kim dynasty. Hardship and fear forge obedience. When discharged, they are disciplined, compliant citizens, unlikely to question the regime. The great leader's daughters serve not just to defend borders, but to uphold the totalitarian state. Their service is about control as much as defense. Daily life for a female soldier in North Korea is relentless, shaped by strict discipline and constant demands. From the moment she wakes, her existence is governed by the needs of the state, leaving little room for individuality or rest. The day starts before dawn with a sharp bugle call. There's no time for hesitation or lingering in bed. Every second counts, and the pressure to move quickly is ever present. After roll call, the morning is consumed by political indoctrination. Soldiers are reminded that loyalty to the supreme leader and the nation must come above all else, reinforcing a sense of duty and obedience that overshadows personal desires. Grueling physical training follows, marching for hours, endless drills, and punishing exercises, all while most are malnourished and running on little sleep. The physical toll is immense, and exhaustion is a constant companion. Meals are meager, just rice with corn, watery soup, and the rare appearance of meat. Hunger is a daily reality, and food is never enough to satisfy. Afternoons mean more than just military drills. Manual labor is a daily requirement, tending crops, hauling supplies, or working on construction projects, all of which are exhausting and often dangerous. Safety is ignored, the work is monotonous and backbreaking. Injuries are common, but complaints are rarely voiced for fear of punishment. Evenings bring no relief. There are more duties: cleaning the barracks, mending worn uniforms, and standing guard, often in harsh weather. Rest is always just out of reach. Self-criticism sessions are mandatory, forcing soldiers to confess mistakes and criticize each other. These meetings breed fear, anxiety, and distrust among comrades. Trust is destroyed. Everyone is a potential informant. Paranoia becomes a way of life, and genuine friendships are rare. Sleep is a brief escape from hunger and exhaustion, but even rest is shallow and interrupted by the demands of military life. The heroic image of a soldier, so often shown in propaganda, is replaced by the reality of servitude and suffering. Dreams of glory fade quickly. Every day is a test of endurance, not patriotism. The struggle is not for honor, but simply to survive another day. The cycle repeats day after day, with no relief in sight. Hope is a luxury few can afford. Life in the army is about survival, not glory. For many, it is a daily battle against exhaustion, fear, and the loss of self. For years, the stories of North Korea's female soldiers were hidden. Defectors like Lee So-yeon have begun to break the silence. She recalls initial pride, quickly replaced by hunger and hardship. Life was stripped of privacy and dignity, crowded barracks, a single uniform, and constant struggle for hygiene. Menstruation often stopped due to stress and malnutrition, a sign of bodies breaking down. The psychological toll was immense: fear, isolation, and hopelessness. Dreams of education and family faded into the daily grind. Complaints were forbidden, weakness meant punishment. These testimonies, collected by human rights groups, counter the regime's propaganda. They reveal stolen years, broken bodies, and wounded spirits. Sharing these stories is an act of resistance. The truth behind the parades is suffering, not glory. These voices give a human face to the statistics. The uniform offers no protection, only new dangers. Sexual harassment and assault are rampant, with officers abusing their power. Reporting abuse is unthinkable. Victims face punishment, not justice. The system protects the powerful, leaving women trapped in silence. Basic necessities are lacking. No privacy, inadequate sanitary supplies, constant discomfort. Years of hard labor and malnutrition leave lasting health problems. Stunted growth, chronic illness, infertility. The psychological scars are deep and enduring. Discharge brings no relief. Many are physically and emotionally broken. Their youth is spent, their bodies bear hidden scars. Service leaves a lifetime of pain in its wake. Conscription means near total disappearance from family life. Communication is forbidden, letters are rare and censored, phone calls impossible. Families endure years of silence, never knowing if their daughter is safe. The state severs emotional ties, redirecting loyalty to the supreme leader. The army becomes her new family, the barracks her home. For soldiers, the inability to contact loved ones is a source of deep distress. They worry, they grieve, but must hide their feelings. The silence is a form of torture for both soldier and family. Reunions after discharge are bittersweet. Years of hardship create emotional distance. The young woman who returns is changed, her spirit often dimmed. The emotional scars of separation linger long after service ends. North Korean propaganda crafts an illusion of strength and unity. Female soldiers are shown as healthy, heroic defenders in pristine uniforms. In reality, those uniforms are costumes for parades. Daily life is hunger and hardship. The state's stories of heroism are bitterly ironic to those who suffer. The real threats are not foreign enemies, but hunger, disease, and abuse. Soldiers must perform loyalty in public, hiding their suffering. The gap between propaganda and reality is vast and unbridgeable. This forced double life is emotionally exhausting. Propaganda doesn't just hide the truth, it destroys it. The cost is the soldier's spirit and hope. For every conscripted woman, a future is lost. Each young woman drafted into the military leaves behind not just her family, but the life she once imagined for herself. The crossroads she stands at is not just a physical one, but a symbol of the choices that have been taken from her. Dreams of education, love, and career are replaced by the state's demands. Hopes of attending university, building a career, or even falling in love are put on indefinite hold, traded for the rigid discipline and harsh realities of military life. 7 to 10 years of service consume the most vital years of life. These are the years when most people elsewhere are discovering who they are. But for these women, time is measured in drills and orders, not in dreams fulfilled. Discharged in their late 20s, many women have missed opportunities for education and work. By the time they return to civilian life, the world has moved on without them, and the doors to higher education or meaningful employment are often closed. Military skills don't translate to civilian life, they're left at a disadvantage. The discipline and endurance they gained are rarely valued in the job market, leaving them to start over from scratch, often with little support. Chronic health problems and trauma make reintegration difficult. Years of harsh conditions, poor nutrition, and relentless stress take a toll on both body and mind, leaving scars that are often invisible but deeply felt. Many suffer from PTSD, depression, and struggle to form relationships. The emotional wounds of service linger, making it hard to trust, to connect, or to imagine a different future. Marriage prospects are bleak. Former soldiers face stigma and suspicion. In a society that values youth and innocence, their years in uniform are seen as a blemish, not a badge of honor. They're seen as old and spoiled by military life. The community's judgment is harsh, and the label follows them everywhere, making it hard to belong. Rumors of abuse further isolate them. Stories, real or imagined, about what happens to women in the military circulate endlessly, deepening their isolation and shame. Service, meant to be an honor, becomes a lifelong mark of shame. The medals and uniforms that once symbolized pride now serve as painful reminders of what was lost. The state's promise of glory ends in lost dreams and social exclusion. The reality is far from the propaganda. Instead of respect, these women find themselves marginalized and forgotten. The cost of service is a future stolen. For these women, the years given to the state can never be reclaimed, and the dreams that once seemed possible are now just distant memories. The stories of North Korea's female soldiers are cries in the dark. The regime's control keeps these nightmares hidden from the world. Only defectors' courage brings the truth to light. Their testimonies reveal a profound human rights crisis. These stories matter. They remind us of the universal desire for dignity and freedom. Ignoring them is complicity in suffering. Awareness is the first step toward change. We must amplify these voices and support those who document abuses. By sharing these stories, we expose the regime's cruelty. The world must listen. These women deserve to be heard.